Welcome to the Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast,
What's
your
up,
home for reselling, wrestling, and real good times. What is up, everybody? How's it going, Josh?
Good day, buddy.
Good
Busy,
day.
just like always, and distracted, like always. That's my brain, but
And it gets harder the older you get, too, because you can't remember what you was doing before you got distracted. So it just makes it fun.
hey, we all need a challenge.
Yeah, we do. Even it's challenging just getting old. So yeah, we need a challenge. So how's it been going for you this week, man?
The week's going great. It's been we just got a lot going on, just like always. I think everybody does, but eBay's been a little bit slower for me the last few days, so I need to work a little harder at getting some listing done. I think, like I talked to you about last time, I'm thinking about taking a portion that I should have already done it, but I need to run a spring sale on my older inventory, kind of slash some stuff, promote it a little bit. I need to just get rid of some of it. So I got some things that I know need to move. I'm ready to quit seeing them on the shelf, and so I'm going to take some drastic measures and just try to get out from under it. It'd be nice to make money on some of it, but if I just do a little better than break even, just get rid of some of it, make space for things that I'll be picking up with garage sale season, listing new items. That's good enough.
I've got the best advice in the world. If you want to get rid of it, I know how. You just delete it.
Yeah.
It's gone. It'll never bother you again.
Not one at a time either.
No, 200 at a whack. Just do them all at once.
Man.
That just still killing me. I don't know.
Oh, I can't imagine.
It's okay. I'm going to find them, especially, I didn't plan on getting into this early, but we'll be moving. We bought a house, and when we do move, I'll have to probably do some inventorying when I reset up. So yeah, I'll find them. I'll probably end up digging through and finding all 200 of them and relisting them at that point. But the bad thing is you got to take all new pictures, and it's a whole new process, So it is what it is. It's all right. It's old guy-itis, especially when you're sick. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's my advice to you. Don't do it when you're sick. It will mess you up every time.
It's like I told you, I have noticed that it can get pretty dangerous when you start getting that foggy head. You stay up too late listing or doing something. I mean, it's amazing, and then, for me, we had this conversation a couple of days ago when we were moving some stuff, and I'll talk about it more later, but I put my phone in my pocket and evidently I didn't close it. And so I'm calling everybody under the sun. I FaceTime Caleb. I called a former coworker that I used to teach with, and I hear this voice from my pocket. Hello. And it's like we weren't doing anything bad or nothing like that, but it's weird, when you're having your own daily conversation, me and my wife, and then you realize somebody's been on the phone for 30 seconds saying hello. It's like I said, hey, what's up? And I looked, I realized, I called you. I was like, man. I said, I guess it was an accident.
But that's what I looked down, and mine's a video call, but it's just like white and it's moving around and I'm like, what in the world is he doing? And I hear you. It sounds like you're shuffling around stuff. And I'm like, I bet he's dialed from his pocket and they're out working. And then I heard you say something like, yeah, let's move that one over here. And I'm like, okay, they're working. So I hang up and I message accident ? Yeah. Good time.
It's been interesting though. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, for sure. We better get the most important thing out of the way right off the bat. Yeah. It is Casey's birthday.
Oh, that. I thought you meant the meetup.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We got to make sure we put priorities right.
Oh, yeah. So, we're recording on the 25th, and this is my wife's birthday. So she took the day off from work today, and I thought she took it off to spend with me, but it wasn't. No, her mom and dad came up last night, and they stayed the night with us. And so she spent the day with her mom, and they don't get to do that a lot. So I know they've had a good time, and they should be home by now. I haven't heard from her yet, but they should be here, I think. She's wanting to work on flowers, and you know how it is, springtime, getting the porch arranged, and all that stuff. You know how it goes. So
yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah.
So how old is
money
Oh, don't
Yeah,
answer that.
yeah. Watch the money melt away into nothing in a few
Oh,
months.
yeah. So are you allowed to say how old she is today, or is that
Uh,
or will it get
well,
you like
no, I
hurt
think
more
I'll be
about
all right. She turned 38 today.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think she'll be upset.
okay. Yeah, as long as you
Yeah.
don't tell everybody 2 years from now how old she is,
Yeah,
you'll be
exactly.
all right.
Well, I tease her about that one, and she gets a little frustrated with that. She don't like it. I tell her, "So you're getting close. You're getting close," because I've been there for a few years, and she when I turned 40, I was still working at the school, and she got permission. Being a small town, she got permission. They put a rock in the door so she could get in after hours. I didn't know why in the world she was. I'm running late from work is all I knew. And so she
Yeah.
had a couple of ladies from church help get things ready. And so I walk into work the next morning, and man, there's giant balloons and a banner hanging across my room. And I mean, I got kids coming in like 10 minutes. I'm like, holy moly. But on the plus side, there was a giant box of donuts. So
Hey, that makes it
yeah,
better.
yeah. So I
Well,
wasn't too
happy
upset.
birthday to Casey.
Yeah, happy birthday, sweetie.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to mention that and hope it's a great day for you. Yes, and you spoke of Meetup. We do need to talk about the Meetup just for a minute, just to kind of hype it up and get everybody reminded. August 2nd, 2024, not that far away now, about 4
Right.
months-ish away. The Highway 127 yard sale, longest yard sale in the world, they say, starts somewhere up in Michigan, ends
Yep.
somewhere down in Alabama or something like that, or Louisiana, or somewhere down through there.
I think it's in
Huge,
Gadsden.
huge yard sale. And right almost, not too far off from the middle in Crossville, we're having a reseller meetup event called the Pickin the Plateau. This is the second annual Pickin the Plateau. We're going to have lots of food, tons of food.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you grew up in church, think church homecoming, and that's what you're going to expect. And it's going to be good food.
Yeah.
Country cooks. If you don't believe us, just go ask Tim and Leroy over at the RIN, the Reseller Information Network. They will fill you in on what you can expect from the cooking. Plus, Josh also cooks. He might make something for us. So we're looking forward to that for sure. Tickets are on sale. They'll be linked down below. $25 a head. Kids are free under 12. If you have children you want to bring, it'll be a safe environment.
Yep.
There won't be cussing. There won't be drinking. There won't be any of that stuff. So they'll be totally at home there too. Bring them out. Come enjoy the night with us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to have a good time. We're going to have a live auction with Lucky 7. Nathaniel's going to be our auctioneer. That's going to be fun. We still got to get that lined out and figured out, but I think that's going to be awesome. But yeah, we can't wait. I'm really looking forward to the meetup.
Yeah. It's getting close. I mean, it's amazing how fast time goes by. So, I mean, I say close. Now, some people don't see it the way I do, but man, my days go by fast. So I know I'm not going to turn around but about 3 times and we're going to be there. But can't wait, man. I'm excited about the menu. I think that's going to be something kind of unique to our event too. Cause I mean, there's nothing wrong with catering and all that stuff, but for people that's never got to experience like a true like Southern homecoming fair, it's good stuff.
Oh, man, yeah.
I'm excited. I get excited about food. So
yeah, me too.
I'm looking forward to that part. Looking forward to sharing that part of our life with others that come too.
Absolutely. This is really more than just a reseller event, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're sharing a meal, which $25 covers your meal. It covers your event, everything. That's it.
Right.
So we're sharing the meal. We're also going to have something that I wasn't familiar with that we're planning on having called a graze table, like grazing, which will be set up during the meet and greet, where you can just like have snacks and waters and juices and, nuts and candies or what, just something to snack on, kind of like your appetizer.
Right.
And that's all going to be happening. Then the actual event, and we're planning on doing quite a few giveaways. We'll have our sponsors talk a little bit, introduce them, maybe let them do the giveaways, stuff like that. And then, the guys over at the reseller locker room are co-hosting it with us. So they're going to be there with us. So right now we have about somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 people already locked into this thing. So if you want to come, space is limited. The fire marshal code limits it down to a max capacity. So once we hit full capacity, that's it. We can't let nobody else in. And I don't want to turn anybody away, and I hope we don't have to. I'd love to have everybody there that wants to come, but just saying that to get you aware that, I wouldn't wait till the last minute.
Right.
Anyway, so we're definitely looking forward to that for sure. We did a live the other night, and this blows me away. We were sitting at 990.
Oh man,
I think 990 subs, right? I believe it was
something like that.
989 or 990.
Yeah.
And Paige, the 1 foot flipper, went over, and he had a bunch of burner accounts, he said, and he got us past 1,000. And that was awesome. We was at 1,001, and I was like, this is great. Thanks, Paige. That's awesome. I don't know who didn't care for that or didn't like the show, or we lost 7 subscribers after the show went off the air. So we're back down to 993, and
I think what happens, and I've read this, I do think sometimes if it's too many from the same IP address that traces back to the same account, it's just like, I know they got things in there for that. Like you can't you can't view your own channel and give yourself 40 thumbs up. I mean, there's you can't manipulate the system. I mean, but I guess you could say, but so much. I think they're aware that a lot of people have, a business account, a personal account, but I think they must have some kind of limit or restriction on that. And we had a few other people in the chat that night that also subbed during that time, or subbed a second account. And I think that maybe is why we stayed up a little more than we were to begin with. But here we are, still needing about 7 more to cross that line and actually stay there. So,
and it's okay. We'll get there when we get there. At 7's no big deal. We'll get there in a month or so. I just thought that was crazy. I didn't consider what you had said, though. That's probably what it was. But that's so crazy. And you said you had a slow had kind of slow move, man. I'm going to just be honest with everybody. Like, I've not listed, I'm going to look right here. I have not listed anything. 8 listings for $667.92 on the 21st is the last time I listed. Before that, I hadn't listed since the 6th of March, and I haven't listed since the 21st at all. So that's about 2 weeks, cut in half by 1 day. I haven't listed. That's on purpose. I talked about, we bought a house. I'm going to go into that more in a little while. We're selling this place, and we'll go into that fully in a minute. But anyway, so I haven't been listing purposely. I turned on a big sale, 30% off. I started offsite ads. That was kind of coincidental. I didn't do that for that purpose. They give you that $100 credit. I'm like, I'm going to try it and see. I did all that at once, and it blew up last weekend, had 50 orders. This week, we had probably 100 orders during the week, like really busy week. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, until I shipped this morning, we had 61 total orders go out the door for the weekend for 1.4K. I was just like, we come up here Sunday night, we packed 44 or 45, I think, orders. And I was like, okay, I got 45 orders. That's still a lot for us. Like 30 is a high average on the weekends. And I'm good with that. I mean, I want to grow, but I'm not complaining. But 45 was high. And I'm like, okay, that's another good, high, strong weekend. We sold from 45 up to 61 from Sunday night till Monday morning. And the crazy thing, I come out here, I had like 57 orders total this morning when I packed. I packed like 12 more. As I was packing, I'm getting done with the last 3 or 4 packages. I sell 4 more things right at the end, pack all them. There's 61 orders. I went into my post office. I knock on the door to the back. You got to knock for like 2 minutes. Finally, this guy comes up and says, yes. I said, do you have a cart back there that I can use? I've got a ton of stuff out here. He just looked at me like, okay. He got me a cart. I roll it out there. I'm like, this ain't big enough, but okay. I filled that cart completely up, brought it in, gave it to him. I said, I'll be right back. I got 2 more bags. I went back and got the other 2 bags. I dropped them in the chute. So I filled up a cart and filled up their chute and still had to go to UPS. Like I had 4 UPS boxes. So, I mean, it was a killer weekend, but that's intentional. I'm trying to decrease the footprint of my shop, my business during this transition of moving. I want to move light. You know, I don't want to move with 2,000 listings. I've letting my boxes run down. I'm trying to just decrease. That way I can, because these totes, like if they're empty, you just stack them up, carry them out. If they're full, you're carrying them out 2 at a time, you know? So that's the purpose. So if you guys are looking for a deal, 30% off on the old paths right now. I'm not trying to drive no business, but I'm just saying if there's something you've been looking at, it's 30% off up to $75, I think is what I've got going. And just trying to move stuff, trying to get rid of stuff. But it has been a crazy weekend.
So are you still running the offsite ads, or have you used up that budget?
I've got like $25 more until it's gone. I will say this about it. I've been kind of looking at the numbers. It gives you an initial explosion. Like I had 60 clicks the first day, then like 50 clicks the second day, then like 30. And now it's in the range of 10 to 15 clicks a day from offsite to come to your store.
Right.
And I'm like, the budget I have set would end up being somewhere in the range of like $100 a month to do that. And I just don't see, I mean, I don't have a detailed accounting that I can say this for sure is a good idea. All I know right now is I've made 6 sales for $75 and I've spent $25 to make those sales. So maybe I was lying. I've got $75 more I can use. But anyway, what I'm saying is you're paying $25 to make $50, basically, at the end of the day. So that's not a great investment, I don't think. If you're in need of a boost here and there, maybe. But I probably wouldn't run it all the time, you know. Gotcha. And I don't know 100% about it, but from what I've seen, I don't think it's definitely not promoted listings.
It is a pay-per-click, right?
It is a pay-per-click. Yeah. So right now, especially with my store on 30% off, you would think those clicks would really be adding up to more money.
Right.
So if I can't do nothing but translate $25 ad spend into a $75 purchasing budget, you know, like that's what it's brought back at 30% off, I don't see it being valuable enough at all time.
And that's why I was curious, because if any of us were to invest in offsite ads without having any kind of sale going on in our store at the same time, I mean, based on that statistic, I don't know that we would really gather many sales at all from that if we were just at regular price. I mean, you'd have a hit and a miss here and there.
Yeah.
That might be a good thing to look at, like, say, during fourth quarter, maybe when people are really motivated to buy and looking specifically for certain things and they're Googling, you know, for those specific items. That might be a good time to look at maybe throwing a little money at it and just seeing what kind of conversion rate you get from those clicks to see if during that time of year it may be worth it. Maybe just say, okay, throw $25 at it and see, how much is it per click?
It depends on the budget you set. You set a daily budget. Okay. And it gives you an idea. Like I set mine at $7 a day, but that doesn't mean you will reach $7 a day. That's just your max budget. And that I had that, no, it's $6 a day. So I had $6 a day figured out, you know, max month would be $120, but it's not worked out that way really. So I don't fully understand the dynamic of it, but I just know that I've got $25 in fees because that's how many clicks I have purchased.
Gotcha.
And that turned me around to a $75 profit. Now, I'd be all for it if them $25 turned into $250. Like that would be a good kind of baseline for me. but 25 to 75 is just not. I feel like I could just turn up promoted listings by a percent, or I could just list more even,
Yeah. Well, and that's what always comes back to me when evaluating all this stuff is, it's so easy to see. Yeah, we can promote, we can run sales, we can do offsite ads, we can, invest in every program they have available for us. And we could probably, as long as our items are priced well to begin with, we could probably move stuff faster than we could list it if we were willing to basically give it away.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's the issue is if you're not really careful, you'll be sending most of your items out for no profit or just a dollar or two profit. And we're not Walmart. If we were selling 10 million items every year, then, $1 to $2 profit, we might be okay with that. But, when your living wage and your ability to make a reasonable living wage is also based on what percentage of profit you make per item, needing to be higher, need to make a certain percentage on every dollar that we invest in inventory, then it's really important that we be really careful how we approach that. And
absolutely.
I mean, that's my big brain strain about all of it. That's why I struggle with giving too much away, because we already pay fees. We already, I kind of feel like a lot of people, even though they don't do it, eBay's changed a lot. It's still great, but they've changed a lot over the years. And the fact that we are already paying for a store, we're already, paying fees on every item that sells.
Mm-hmm.
We really should get a really good amount of advertising anyway. Now, people say, well, we get to have our items listed on a platform by doing this that has the eyeballs of millions of people. And that's true. It's not like we're not just setting a table up outside of Walmart in our local town. But by the same token, I mean, it's still, you would expect we wouldn't have to just keep putting more and more and more. It's like they keep creating more ways for us to have them do what we should already be paying them to do. And I don't like that part about it. Not to be negative, but I don't like that part. Like the offsite ads is a new program, but we have to pay extra for that. We have to pay extra for promotion. We have to pay extra for everything, and that can really
when you do that, so I come from the old school of promoted listings. I've been doing it most of the time. And when I started, promoted listings was like the only thing you could do outside of coupons and markdowns and so on. If you wanted to pay for a way to boost yourself, there was no offsite ads.
Right.
And there was no, what's the other one? There's promoted listing advanced, offsite ads, and there's another one that's like store something. I don't know. But when they introduced promoted listing advanced, it basically went in and undercut everybody that's already doing promoted listings. Yep. It says, if you guys want to continue at the level you're going, then you're going to have to go from 5% to 8% or 10%, because these advanced people are paying to get some of what you've got. Like they're taking away from you.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that's what they did. And then you have the other ones coming along, and I feel like that just chips away a little bit too.
Yeah.
So you can't promote. I mean, some people can. I can't promote at 25 and 30%.
No.
Just wouldn't make enough money to justify doing this. I promote at 12, and that's a lot already. But the only way I can do that is because I get stuff so cheap. Like my buy-in cost was at 6% last time I looked. So now I'm adding basically 10 to 12% to that. At the end of the day, where we really do make 50% on our money, if I didn't promote, I would make more, but I wouldn't make the sale, So it's what they call it, a catch-22. You're juggling. You're trying to figure out, how do I find that happy medium, and it's a hard thing, but that's business. Like you have to find that sweet spot.
And I get both sides. I get the side from say on the side where we look at our individual stores as its own entity or its own business. And, if I were running a storefront and I wanted advertising, I would have to pay for extra advertising out of pocket. I get that. I'm not oblivious to those facts. I mean, I understand the economics of the situation, but the point is we're not running an independent storefront. eBay is the storefront, and we're just one of the shops inside of eBay. It's more as if like these gigantic flea malls, like we're all different vendors inside the flea mall. We're already paying eBay for access to have our goods on their website. And that's my only issue with the paying for extra promotions is I really feel like, if anything, everyone should get the same. eBay should just be promoting itself, and by virtue of that, promoting everything that's for sale on the platform by every seller that lists items on the platform. And if they need a larger budget to do that, I would rather them increase the regular fee across the board on everybody by 2% than make us try to figure out what the magic number is on promotions, offsite ads, and all that stuff. Just do the best you can to promote eBay. If the corporate side, promote it for everybody, and whatever, let us know up front. This is what everybody's buy-in stake is, just like the cost, of your spot in a flea mall or whatever. That's the way I feel about it. But
that's a good point. I mean, it is aggravating sometimes to lose more and more of your money. And, one thing I will say in defense of the eBay fee is a lot of people will complain, I don't like paying this 12%, which I think it went up, 10, 12%. I don't like paying that. eBay charges too much. One thing I will say in defense of that is being somewhat technical and having a little bit of knowledge about websites and, costs of things like that and software. I can promise you this, that you couldn't do it cheaper yourself, building a website, maintaining a website, having an inventory software system set up similar to eBay. You could not compete with what they're doing. So if you wanted to try to do it yourself on a scale of what eBay does for you, it would be really, really hard to compete with, so the normal fee I'm fine with. Yeah, that don't bother me. I'm like you though. It would be great if they would include all of everything under that one banner of that one fee. That would be great. Maybe one day they do, but I doubt it. Yeah. I doubt they ever do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I understand it all, and I'm not opposed. I mean, I'm grateful that we have eBay. I think it's still for us doing what we do, especially selling used items from a variety of, different categories. I mean, but selling everything. The fact that we have one site, one place that we can go and can handle all of that. It's cross listing is good. It can improve sales. It gets more eyes on your products. There are people that won't, mess with eBay that will go to other vendors, other sites and buy from them. So if your goods aren't there and you're depending just on eBay, you might miss some buyers from time to time. But eBay is still, I mean, to me, it's the boss. It's the one for us, for people that do what we do. It's still king of the mountain. And I'm not unappreciative of what it does for us, because, I mean, I wouldn't even be here doing what I'm doing if it weren't for eBay. That's nothing to do with it. It's just the analytics. It's just the analytics of how they go about doing promotions, doing ads and all that. We all have, I guess it's that same with when I was in the classroom, everybody thinks they know how the teacher ought to be teaching better than what the teacher does, And so we've all got our ideas for how eBay could maybe do things better. Whether we're right or not, who knows? But if it costs us less money, that sure would be nice.
Or to put it in a term that I like, everybody will roast the preacher at church. Like, I wish he'd preach this, or I wish he'd preach. Hey, get up there and do it. If you do it better, I never say that from the pulpit, but I mean, it's not, and you've taught Sunday school, like, it's not as easy as it sounds to get up there in front of people and do it. Now, when you're sitting in your seat, saying in your head, like in teaching any realm, saying to yourself, well, this is really what that was, or that, it's easy to correct in your mind, but to get that from there to there out is a different story altogether. So
it is.
But yeah,
absolutely.
But so I alluded, and switch gears just a little bit. I alluded to a huge bit of news in our life that we bought a home. When we bought a home. We have our home on the market. I announced it during our live that we did buy a home. On my video that comes out right after this, I talk about it quite a bit. But we did. We bought a home, and I'm going to show it in just a second. But we are selling our home. We have an offer on our home already. I'm not sure how that's played out just exactly yet. Maybe nothing, but it may be an offer that we accept. I don't know. But the shed is staying with the home. This eBay shed stays here. Now, the racks are going with me. The tables are going with me. The desk, all my equipment, everything's going. But the shed is staying. The reason I came to the conclusion that I'm going to leave the shed, I didn't want to. Originally, we was going to take the shed. We was going to take both sheds. The reason I'm not taking them, when I surveyed out this land and I figured out everything about it, the eBay shed don't make sense there. Right. It really, it needs to be laid out differently. It needs to be set up differently. So off at the beginning, we're not really 100% sure what we're going to do. We talked about a metal building. We may do that in the future, but for right now, we're probably going to work out of a storage unit for a month or two until we can finish up one space. And I'm going to show this in just a second. And we may use this one space as our reselling space for a little while until we figure out a full-time solution. So yes, the eBay shed, the old past shed is staying here. This will no longer be my reselling space in about a month, because we close on our home April 30th. That's a month and 5 days from now. And it was 45 days just a few days ago. So now it's 35 days and it's getting closer all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to pop this thing up and show everybody. If you're watching or listening, rather, on Spotify or Apple or Amazon Music or any of that, come over to YouTube and check this out right here. Here is our new home. This is just a front view of the home. Coming up to the home, this is about halfway's up the driveway, and you can see the home. But if you can see my mouse right here, this part is a detached addition to the home. This over here is the home. This is a detached addition that they just built. That's 400 square feet. And the insides are not completely finished. The wiring's done. It's just got to be installed, the lights and the outlets and stuff. And then it has to be insulated, sheetrock, floored, and it's done. So that's the reason I said we'll probably work out of a storage unit for a month or two, because I've got to finish that room out. Once it's finished out, it has a 100 square foot loft on top. That loft is probably going to become one of the bedrooms for the kids. It's awesome. It's like 8-foot ceilings. It's a full loft. We're going to build like a half wall up there, loft ladder, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. And that'll be like a super nice place to stay up there. And then the bottom will be the eBay shop, more than likely. Now that could change. I don't want to swear up and down that is exactly what's going to happen, because I told a few people going to put up a metal building, but that changed. And we may even do that eventually. But it's all going to be based on where am I going to put it. So if you look at this piece of land directly, I have to be concerned about the way water flows and all that stuff too. So I have to figure all that out, and I'm just not prepared to figure it out without being there. But we're super excited about this home. We got to go look at it again the other day, and we just fell in love with it. I'll pop up another picture right here and show you a little closer the front of the home. We really did fall in love with this house. It's our dream home. If we built our dream home, this is what we would have built, me and Tanya. And we love it. But yeah, we're excited. And in about a month, things are going to change around the old paths for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine, I was thinking I mentioned this to you earlier. I'll go ahead and tell this. We've been trying to transition. We've worked out of our house the entire time that I've done eBay so far. Mm-hmm. So I'm in my office right now that I finally am able to be back in my office, because I've got racks. Well, I've got racks that I'm staring at across from me that have listed items on them. that are covering that wall. And then I've got bookcases behind me that go around the two walls. They go all the way around. But I got a lot of listed inventory in some places on this too. But I had a lot of tubs in the floor. I mean, the corner was just kind of, I could barely get back here to the chair. It just wasn't worth trying. The hassle was too much to get in here and do stuff like this. But we began trying to, we got the building, of course, put up before we went to Omaha, and most everybody knows that by now. And we've been kind of trying to navigate. It was still, pretty cold and rainy when we got back. So we weren't in a huge hurry. I mean, we were, but we weren't, if that makes sense. But being springtime, the weather's getting nice. We've got we're planning to have a lot of family over for Easter next weekend, and probably be like 15 to 20 of us here for dinner that Sunday after church. And so we're trying to get the house reclaimed. I got, like I said, the office was full. Our guest bedroom has 2 shelves in it. Anywhere I had a wall where I could fit a couple of shelves to put inventory, that's pretty much what we had to do. And so I had 2 shelves in it. The closet was a lot of my boxes and shipping materials were in it, in the spare bedroom. And then I had a couple of other racks and stuff with some items on them on the other wall in the spare bedroom. And then some unlisted inventory in the floor. And then in the great room, I had 2 more racks in there. I think it's 2 more big racks or shelving units that I also had like listed inventory on. And then, of course, since that was the room I was working out of most of the time, that's where the majority of my unlisted items were kept in there too. So I was spread all over the house. I mean, and I know that was a headache for my wife, but we also understood that what it was doing for us and the transition we were going through, to try to get to the point of me doing this full time, that was necessary. But all that said, we spent this weekend going through and trying to move stuff. So, labeling tubs, condensing stuff, trying to get it organized, loading the truck, taking stuff out to the new building, things that we felt comfortable being out there that, I mean, this covered, but heat and cold wise, and humidity, not that we didn't have to worry about anything happening to it. And so we moved quite a lot out there. I mean, we moved a lot, like 3 truckloads, as well as some other stuff, that we had in here that, we wanted to kind of have a different place for. So we've reclaimed about, I would say about 2/3 maybe of the space besides the shelving units that we had used up. And I think that's going to help a lot. Mostly it's just the shelving units and then just picking up loose ends. And, but my point is, in saying all that, I can only imagine what it'd be like if I would have had to have gathered up all these loose items sitting on my racks and my shelves that are listed and trying to move that stuff. I mean, I've left all that pretty much like it is. And that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? There's the glasswares, all the things that you don't really drop down in a tub, Yeah. And I mean, it just, the amount of time that it would take to move that, plus, things you don't want to put out there in the humidity, books that I've got listed, electronics that are listed. It's a lot to move. So I don't envy your task at all. And I certainly understand why you would want to lessen the size of your store in your inventory as soon as possible.
I've actually thought about, I have a big roll of wrap, like hid over here behind the desk, like you use in a warehouse. I've thought about when we get ready to move and we're pulling these racks out, leaving them installed the way they are and just wrapping the totes inside the racks and carrying that straight out to the storage, the trailer, loading it in. Idea. If it ain't too heavy, I mean, that's the only thing is how heavy are all the totes. If they're not real heavy, you might could do that. But I mean, cause it took me years to get this shed to this condition. I didn't fill it up overnight and it won't get taken down overnight.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm hoping for, and I don't know how this will go, but what I'm hoping for is when we do finally sell our home, we'll have at least 2 weeks of time in between the day we can move in and the day we have to move out. That way I've got 2 weeks to work and not be rushed into just packing everything into a trailer and try to figure it out later.
Right.
I don't want to go on time away for like 6 weeks. I don't want to do that. I'd rather go on time away for about a week.
Right.
And be set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But yeah, that's the house. That's the the property, we're excited, man. One of the great things is where we're at now, we have a half acre, and I ain't complaining about our place now. We have loved our home. We've had a great place to live. I've got a great reselling shop here, and a lot of people see it and they undervalue it. Listen, this place to me is worth $50,000. I really feel like this is a great space, and I'm not saying it's worth 50,000. I'm saying to me, it's a very valuable tool. So knowing what it can do for me and what it can do for somebody else, if they come in and use this as a workshop or a woodworking place or a storage building or whatever, they've got a climate controlled storage unit, a climate controlled workshop, a climate controlled living quarters. If you wanted to make it that,
right,
all you'd have to do is just insulate the bottom somehow, underpin it,
right,
and put a floor in it, and it would be a totally livable space on your property of 400 square foot. So I was like, to me, that's really valuable, but I'm not starting over, but I'm starting a new chapter. So I'm not looking forward to filming that last episode
oh man,
of the podcast and my last episode in this shed and having to say goodbye, like legitimately say goodbye to this place. Like that's going to be hard because this has been my eBay shop for 3 years almost. So it's going to be tough. And this has been our home for almost 18 years. So, it's going to be it's going to be different. I'll just say it like that. I'm excited about the future, but I'm also sad. And something else people don't know that, I don't want to give like too much detail away, but our neighbors, one of our neighbors is some of my wife's family. So we're leaving the best neighbors in the world. Like they're great, great people. And we don't want to leave them. I wish we could find them a house right next door to where we're going and be like, no, come down here. But they have their home established and everything. And I mean, I'm looking out the window right here. There they are. The girls are outside playing and it's just perfect over there. And it's like, we're leaving that, and we've got really great neighbors in front of us and we're leaving that. And it's like, it's hard, it's tough, but we're getting something we dreamed about that we really looked for years. So there is no complaints. And the way everything worked out, it was a God thing. He opened these doors and made it happen. And I mean, one day I'll tell the whole story after the house is completely settled. I'll tell the whole story and share everything about it. But it was too much. It just had to be the Lord working it out. It had to be. So, and the story, but I'll share the whole story one day about how that all worked out. But yeah, we're excited, man.
It's
ready
pretty
to go.
incredible. And but I get that. I get that, change, even when it's a change that we've wanted, and even we could say expected, change for me is always still it's unsettling and it's hard.
It is hard.
I get it, man. I get it. I don't envy that part, but I know there's an excitement at the same time to start a new chapter. So, and I like you said, I do believe this from what you shared with me. And as you said, you'll share more later. I believe that God's hands are all over it. And that's what gives me peace about things, even when the change is unsettling to me, when I know that, or I'm confident that it's what God wants or what he's designed. It just makes it a lot easier to move on to that next part.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that made, cause when we looked at the house, Tanya is not this way, but she was ready to make an offer before we left. And I'm usually the one that's like, let's buy this. And she's usually the one that's reserved. And we flip-flopped and I'm like, I don't know, and we kind of went back and forth, but you send me a message out of the blue that has nothing to do with anything pertinent to that day, just an encouraging message that was just totally out of nowhere, unexpected. I was looking for some sort of confirmation at that moment. and you send me that message just like, hey, the Lord's good and he's going to take care of you. And I'm like, this cannot be just coincidental, and yours was one of 3 messages I got from people that one guy I hadn't heard from in like 6 months sends me the same type of message. And I'm like, this is just not, it's not possible that it's coincidental. I'm sorry. It's just not. So we're going to be undergoing some changes. I don't know what this show is going to look like literally on this side of the screen. I don't know what it's going to look like. I know we're going to keep going somehow. If I have to film out of the utility room of the new house, I'll do it. But we'll make it work. But I just don't know yet, so.
Right.
But exciting times for the podcast, exciting times for the Old Pass, exciting times for the Bama Jaybird channel too, because I can't wait to see you get that shed, man, fixed in, lined up, and the way it's going to be. Because that thing, well, that's what gave me the idea. I was trying to steal from you, and I'm like, I'm going to build one. By the way, yours is how big?
28 by 50.
28 by 50. Got it.
Yeah.
So I got to get bigger than 28 by 50. No, I'm just kidding. I was actually looking 24 by 48. So that's really close to the same size.
It really is.
And that's a dream. Like 28 by 50, 24 by 48, whatever, 1,000+ square foot of reselling space. And I know you're going to segregate some of yours, but if you come away with 500 square feet, 400 square feet, I mean, I've got 384 right here. And it's a dream here. If you expand on that at all, man, you've got an awesome place to do it.
Yeah. And I think I'll end up with about probably 650 to 700 square feet initially. And we'll see from there. We talked about this earlier. I'm not going to wall in a huge portion of it to begin with. Probably something around maybe like 20 feet wide by maybe like 24, 26 long. I mean, it's going to be kind of like a 1/4 of it, basically. So that's what I'm looking at, kind of boxing in, trying to heat and cool and insulate. And I mean, who knows? I mean, it may be more, but I just think to initially, I don't want to be too aggressive just because of cost. I mean, you can only spend so much.
Absolutely.
And we've got a lot of responsibilities right now, a lot of things going on. And, so who knows? My kid was actually today, he's been working at a car dealership in Tuscaloosa for, I don't know, it's months now. It's not been quite a year, but he was messaging me today and he's like, hey, you think if I just left here and come home and just worked full time with you, you think we could increase what eBay's doing enough to where I could do that full time? And I was like, I don't even have full time income. What I think, it should be. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that. But he sees possibilities too. I didn't mention that to you before, but he's seeing all this going on. And I think he probably saw the building. I'm like, well, you're not thinking about the fact that the other building got blown away, and the insurance gave us settlement money that we used to pay for a large portion of this. It's not like, boy, eBay's just making so much money, we can just go do this. So. But down the road, I hope maybe whether it's there or in a different space. I mean, I want eBay to grow. Like you said, I want it to grow. I want to work at it hard. I want to really, do well with it. And hopefully in time, it will be most of the space or maybe a different space, because I do live in the country. I've got several acres I take care of. I've got tractor and, bush hog and plows and tillers and all that kind of stuff, all kinds of equipment and big lawnmowers and finish mowers and, just stuff that needs a place anyway. And so I'm going to, whether I have it there or have it somewhere else, something I have to bend or break eventually on that. But anyway, that's it. I do think I'm going to start doing some listing out there though. I'm going to start carrying my, my wireless Wi-Fi router with me. It's battery powered. And I think I'm going to set me up a station out there to do some of the listing and kind of just, have that separate workspace. I think that'll be good for me too, just to be able to get out of the house, out away from some of the distractions. I walk through the kitchen, and I see dishes that need done. Not that we don't need to do those, but sometimes I do it at the wrong time of day. Like I feel I just need to go and get that done. And then I'm not working on eBay. So I think I'm going to try to separate those spaces. I think that'll be good for me. I can go out there and just stay, get locked in and, work till I'm done. But
I've noticed the same thing. When I had it in my home, it's so easy to get distracted. Man,
Right.
it's so easy to get
Oh
distracted.
man.
So I think a dedicated workspace is awesome. I mean, it's so beneficial to your business side. Like, I totally agree with that part.
And can I just say really quick,
No.
what
Go
about
ahead.
all this reselling talk?
I know this is like a real reselling podcast today. I was sitting there thinking, we got to get away from all this.
We're going to lose subscribers this week.
What is this reselling?
We're trying to add people. We're going to have to rethink how to even title the video since it's about reselling. The recording.
I know. I've been there thinking, like, we got to get away. This is crazy. What are we doing? Let's go into our dad joke title match. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready. A question is whether or not you're ready. I'm not losing this week. I feel good about this one.
Here we go. It is dad joke title match time, boys.
Oh boy.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Ready. Since I've won, like, since pretty much the dawn of time, and pretty much never lost, you know, I'll go first. But
oh man, look like you've been around since the dawn of time, but you know.
Oh, come on. Is that your dad joke this week? All right, there you go. That was a little bit hateful right there. No,
wow.
I'm kidding. I do feel like I've been around from the dawn of time sometimes.
You should, as long as you've been sick. I know you ain't feeling great.
My voice is almost all the way back, but you can hear it kind of in and out sometimes. Mm-hmm. But all right, I'm going to hit you with one of them that don't really have a punchline, you know, like a reaction time. So if you want to hit me with an answer real quick, you better make it fast.
Oh, boy, I hear you.
All right. I hate my day job. All I do is crush cans all day. It's so depressing.
So depressing. Mm-hmm.
I gave you a small window.
Yeah, very small, very small. I have heard that one, but I couldn't get it out quick enough. Okay, so
before you say anything, everybody go down and tell him that I won.
Hopefully our everybody will be more than 4.
Yeah, more than he's froze. Where'd you go? Josh. He's froze. I guess by virtue of default, I am the winner of the dad joke title match this week. Man, he is really froze. Like, look at that. Kind of looks funny over there. Froze up. Well, when you decide to come back and make your attempt at becoming the dad joke champion one more time, just let us know. But yeah, so while we're waiting on Josh to get back, I will talk about this week in wrestling history. We have started this segment, and he's really gone now, son. He has left the building. I'd say he had possibly some windstorms. We have some windstorms going on here right now. It's supposed to get worse as the day goes on, so I'd say he'll be back in a minute. But we've had some pretty strong winds today already, and it's supposed to get worse. So that could be what's going on with him, but we'll give him a minute and see if he makes his way back. But anyway, this week in wrestling history, I will go over these things, and I was hoping to go over it with him, but I'll go over it, a couple of these things while we wait for him to come back. So this week in wrestling history, or I should say this week in wrestling history, on the 24th of March, an icon was born. A legend was started. He was born into the world known as Mark Calloway. And for those of you that don't know him by Mark Calloway, I'm talking about The Undertaker. Celebrates his birthday yesterday at the time of filming this. Not sure on the age of The Undertaker, but he celebrated his birthday on March 24th. And then on the very next day, which is today, March 25th, he filmed his final match with AJ Styles. I think it was called the Boneyard match or something like that. I can't remember. It was during COVID, one of the cinematic matches he filmed with AJ Styles. That was on the 25th, and he's back. I went into this week in wrestling history while you was gone.
Good deal. Man, I'm sorry. The internet just cut completely out all of a sudden. We got great service here normally. So I connected to my phone and we're back on.
I told him it may be the wind because we're having some windstorms up here. So it could have been what it was.
We had wind.
We'll save the last part of this week in wrestling history, and we'll go back to the dad joke title match. Hit it.
So what I was saying really quick, if you normally leave a comment, give us some feedback on the dad joke this week. If you don't know,
feedback needs to be Caleb is the winner. That's all it needs to say.
Man, it's getting old. All right. So did you hear about the cheese factory that blew up in France?
Hold on a minute. I know this one.
Do you?
Okay, I can't come up with it. I know this one though.
Okay, this has got 2 puns in it.
All right,
it blew cheese debris everywhere.
That's horrible. Yeah. Yeah, that's really horrible.
Man. Well, that's the best kind, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's horrible in the worst ways. I think I should automatically win. That's just that.
Oh, man. Come on now.
That's bad, man. I think we should just end the show right there. It's done. Kidding.
Oh, man. Cheesier the better, man.
Cheesier the better. Well, yeah, there you go. There's another pun. Maybe you win just by coming off the cuff. I don't know. All right. So let's transition back over to the wrestling. This week in wrestling history. Wrestling history. I had to correct myself. It's not wrestling. It's wrestling.
Wrestling. Yeah.
So I told him about it's the Undertaker's birthday yesterday.
Right.
And I told him about the Undertaker's. Was it the Boneyard something match he had with AJ Styles? What was that called?
I think so. Something like that.
It was the Boneyard something. I can't remember now. Oh, man, that kills me because I know these things, but I don't keep up with it that recently. So it was the Boneyard something.
Yeah, I think he literally was that's the one he literally rode his motorcycle off right after it was over.
He rode off into the sunset.
Yeah, it was like a taped off site type thing ahead of time, and he rode off.
It was during COVID, so it was like a cinematic, which was the perfect way for the Undertaker to end.
Oh yeah,
it was a perfect way to end his career. And I know he had a send off at Survivor Series or something like that year, or like where he came out and did a goodbye or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was his last official match. All right, we had 2 more. Do you remember what they were?
Well, that was it. His birthday plus that, and then the last one was March 24th. WrestleMania 7 was when Hogan defeated Sergeant Slaughter and saved America.
Saved America.
Yeah,
I'm glad he did that because could you imagine what America would have looked like under the reign of terror of Sergeant Slaughter? And that's when he was with the Iron Sheik, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it would. Man, America would have been under Islamic control and all that stuff. Wrestling dictates everything. Like that.
It does. Yeah,
you just don't know.
People aren't aware how serious it is.
The Samoan dynasty is about to take over this country because of Roman Reigns right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rock's been teasing to run for president for years now.
Oh,
kidding aside. So,
oh my gosh.
I
don't know how I feel about that, but you know what? It doesn't matter how I feel about that.
I'm telling you,
Rock would say.
Sometimes you look at the landscape and, I won't say it would be better at all. That ain't what I'm saying. But sometimes it's hard to say it could be worse.
That's a very arguable point.
So
Yes,
we'll see. We'll see.
It is.
Oh, man.
All right. So what you got on comment of the week this week?
Well, comment of the week. Let me see here. I had our friend, Miss Mary McQueen.
Oh, yeah.
She said, I literally remember the minute that everyone cares. Sorry, I got to start that over. I'm totally blowing it up. I literally remember the minute that not everyone cared about what I sold. So we had talked a little bit about how we can sometimes get carried away telling others about what we're doing and how not many people are as interested as we are. And yet at things like Pickin the Plateau, the reseller meetups, when you're with your people, you finally have those like-minded folks, and it's so refreshing to have those conversations. So I was talking about how I had overshared with some family the other day, and she commented, I literally remember when I realized not everybody cared about what I was doing.
Yep. That's very true. Very true.
Thought that was
all
good.
right. So I got one from our good friend Carter's Retro Quest. This is Will, who, by the way, is going to be a guest on Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast next week. I did hear back from him, and he's going to be with us next week. So Will's awesome. He said this: dad joke winner, the people. The people win because both those jokes were short and over and didn't take too long. So
he's probably really not going to appreciate my cheese joke this week.
He probably won't like it.
No, he probably gonna like it at all. That's
I don't think anybody's gonna like it. That was pretty horrible.
He better bring a good one and pack a lunch next week, though. Now that's all I'm saying.
That was stinky, like blue cheese, stinky.
Yeah.
All right, what you got on sale of the week? You have a good sale this week?
Okay. Well, it's been 2 weeks. I don't this week. I want to bring something up though that I wanted to talk about last week on sale. So I've talked a lot in my on my own channel about the music buy that I made, and so most of my sales, my better sales, have been coming out of that. And these aren't super old. We just didn't get to do our regular taping last week, and I just wanted to point out I've had 3 sales that combined, I had about $1.50 in them, and they sold for $323.98. So my point is, profit margin wise, that buy is still just amazing me. One of them in particular was a season 1 and season 2 from the Monkees on TV, and it sold for $145. And then I had a double box set of volume 1 and 2 of the Beatles that sold for $110. So I mean, and not every sale's been that great. I've had a lot of, $15 sales, $20 sales, $25 sales. But I mean, if it's one disc, I don't know where it's going to land exactly at the end based on what I list, but I know I'm somewhere in the range of 25 to 30 cents per item is all on this stuff. So, I mean, the profit margin is ridiculous, even on a $10 sale, and so
that anyway. Right there is why I love eBay.
Yeah.
You won't find it at Amazon. You won't find it many other places at all, Walmart.com or any of that. If you want the Monkees season 1 and season 2, you're going to Josh or somebody like you to get it.
Oh yeah, there wasn't hardly any listed.
Yeah, they don't make that. I mean, you can't get that.
And these were new seals.
By the way, I'll give you $50 right now for that Nintendo 64 behind you. No questions asked. I will do it.
I tell you what, for $50, I will send you a framed photo of it.
That's fair. That's fair. Actually, for $50, you could take everything out of the box and ship me the box, probably.
Oh yeah, you could probably sell the box.
You could sell the box for $50. I guarantee it. I've actually sold posters and artwork out of games for like $30 and $40.
Oh,
just
man.
People don't realize if you find old Super Nintendo games and stuff, don't throw that stuff away. If it's empty, look the boxes up.
What's crazy, that buy that I got that in, where I got, it wasn't the biggest amount of stuff ever, but it was a good bit of stuff, 2 Game Boy Colors, 2 complete the Nintendo 64s in the box, plus, like I had nearly all the Pokemon games from the old Game Boy Color, 2 copies of Pokemon Crystal that's like $100 and something game, I mean, it was good stuff. What was there, really good stuff. And the 2 brothers that I bought it off of, they were like 30 years old, and they had kept all this stuff, kept all the wrappers. So they told me that they still had every box that every game came in, but they couldn't find them before they brought it to me. I mean, they said they knew they had it, that they had stored it, but they couldn't find it because they bought clamshells. Like every Nintendo 64 game was in an OEM Nintendo 64 clamshell case with the manual. In the same way with the Game Boy Color games, they had the manuals, like they had the little travel cases, and so they had a pocket on them that was stuffed full of the manuals, and then they had all the games in the clamshells. I mean, it was well cared for. I mean, it was amazing to me. It just blew my mind. But I never heard back from them about the boxes.
Oh man, if you could have got the boxes, that gets close to considering getting stuff graded.
Absolutely, point. I would have.
Yeah, that's why
Absolutely.
I rolled up on a yard sale and I didn't know enough about it back then. I wish I would have at least inquired. But this guy had a tote full, like a 27-gallon tote full of DS boxes, game boxes. And I was like, "How much are your games?" He said, "It's just the boxes." And they was like, 50 cents a piece. And I
Yep.
just went on because I didn't know. But even that stuff, you can sell $10 a piece sometimes, $15 a piece, because people still want
Yeah.
the boxes, and especially the old stuff, man. That's
Well, the reality
crazy.
is you have to be really careful because on some stuff like that, like you say, yeah, you can sell the box like that, but sometimes you can go on eBay yourself and buy the game that has the instruction booklet with it and put it in the box you have and sell it for 5 or 6 times what you could have bought any of it
Yep.
individually for. A lot of times
Mhm.
piecing things out works better but with video games, almost without question, it's the complete one, box, manual, and everything in the package that brings the highest dollar, not
Oh, yeah.
parting it out.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyway,
So,
what
so
about you? What's your big sell?
my sell of the week, the reason I ask about it is because it's also Nintendo related. I love the
Okay,
Nintendo 64. That was one of my favorite systems.
right.
So I had a 3DS and I had a DSi that I listed. The only day I've listed in the last, 2 weeks, I listed both of those. The same buyer came in and bought both of them at the same time, like 15 minutes after I listed them. The 3DS, it was a 3DS XL, so it was the big one. I sold it with two, cheap games for
Right.
149.99. And then I sold the DSi with like six cheap games for 65. So I ended up making about $215 off that one sale to that same guy.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I had about
That's
30
pretty awesome.
bucks in the whole deal, the whole lot. So I made about $170 total after shipping, probably 165, 170.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I love selling stuff like that, especially when it sells in 10 minutes after you list it. It's like awesome.
Well, my best, I said that about the music because I just really wanted to highlight that. I was excited about talking about that last
That
week.
music lot, man, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
but I did sell a Pokemon game for Game Boy Color too for just under $50 this week. So
That's awesome.
so I mean, I had some Nintendo related stuff going out. It's always, I love stuff like that. So I just
I do
always
too.
enjoy. I love anything video game related. And I know it's like it's such a hard niche to do well in because it's just hard to find the stuff anymore. I mean, it gets
It's hard to
gobbled up
find
real
and it's
quick.
it's well saturated too.
It is. It
That's not a
is.
good combination.
So
And
no.
it's one of the most particular buyer groups there is. Like,
Yep.
they're hard to please.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. I'm jealous of that. Your music lot reminds me of my BBC lot I bought. Like,
Hmm.
you got so much stuff there.
Oh, it's
I
crazy,
would I
man.
mean, just looking at what you had, I wouldn't doubt what you spent. You 425, is that right?
425. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt what you don't come close to 10K.
I don't. It's thousands. I know it is. I mean, I know I said that in my video, but I listed just the box sets, and I was at like $1,200 plus.
That
I
is so
listed just the DVDs, and that was over $1,000 more, not counting about 20 of them that I pulled out that I'm thinking about putting together like a set of, because I've not did whatnot before. And so some of the stuff
yeah,
that was like, $5 to $6, $7 is what it average sells for. I tried to pull some of that out to the side that I thought were good titles that I thought might be interesting. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a whatnot show with some of that, because if it sells for 3 instead of 5, I'm okay with that, you know,
right.
and just to test the waters on it. But it's not even counting that stuff. There's probably, even on whatnot, probably $100 or better, even if nothing does great. And then
Right.
here I am, I still got like, 1,300 CDs. I'm not even finished the B's yet. So I sorted everything alphabetically. And then
Oh,
alphabetically, then I'm grouping it by artist, because this guy wasn't random. This guy was very like niche centered in his music. And so, like, for instance, and I don't need to talk about this forever. You can raise the white flag if you have to and tell me to cut it off. But
you're good.
like the Yardbirds, and I've learned about this. Cut it off now. I've learned that was green, by the way. I've
Yeah,
I've learned
yellow
about
green.
this by looking the stuff up. So the group, the Yardbirds, from I think maybe the early '60s is when they started. I don't know that exactly right, but out of that group, there were two guitarists that most people will know: Eric Clapton was one of their lead
Yep.
guitarists at one time, and Jimmy Page, who was the guitarist for Led Zeppelin. And so, Eric Clapton, of course, had a really accomplished solo career, but before that, he left the Yardbirds, and he was one of the central figures behind the group Cream. And so and that's just two of the major bands and major guitarists. You also have Jeff Beck, who was a really successful solo artist that was the lead guitarist for the Yardbirds. Well, my point is this. So, that's one group. So he started with the Yardbirds, and if you could imagine doing a family tree of an early rock band as members came and went and they formed new bands, he followed all those people. So he followed Clapton, he followed Page, he followed these guys, and he bought the music they made with the different bands they made down through the years after that. And so his collection it's connected. And that makes it really interesting trying to look it up, because it's not just scattered everywhere. I mean, and I think that's really cool. That makes it unique. And I mean, a lot of the CDs, I mean, not a large percentage, but I bet there's got to be at least 100, if not 150 of them that are still sealed. I mean, so it's not just used stuff. I mean, a lot of it's sealed. And it's crazy, man.
That's wild, man.
Crazy.
Okay, I think it's time to wave the white flag. Your internet's about to blow up over there.
Is it glitching?
It's a glitching, and you're getting fuzzy and all that good stuff.
Oh, man.
So I think it's time to hit the road this week. But we appreciate you guys and appreciate you being here. If there's 7 of you watching that haven't subbed already, we'd really appreciate that. Tune in next week to meet Will Carter, Carter's Retro Quest. He is a great guy, and get familiar with him if you're not already. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And until next time, we are the 2 old guys, and we're out, guys. We appreciate you.
Yep.
See you later.
See you later.